to be empowered. But this great initiative of CFI, if all of us take from this, I think for sure, development will be sustainable at all levels.
Sohna Cham, the president of Boka Halat Kafo of Brikama Nyambai, whose Kafo benefited from the loan scheme, urged her colleagues to utilize the funds positively. Other speakers, including Pamane, the councillor of Brikama Nyambai Ward, the chiefs of Combo Central and Fonyu Bintang Karanai, all commended the Combo Central APRC Women Empowerment Association for its drive to improve the lives of its members. As women make up more than 50% of the Gambia's population, self-help initiatives can help better the lives of women. For Grts News, I am Fatou Jassi.
We'll now take our first break. The news continues right after. Welcome back. The source of leaked U.S. surveillance program Edward Snowden has been fired by defense contractor Bruce Allen, but that is the least of his worries at the moment. Snowden is believed to be at large in Hong Kong, while the FBI investigates the leaks. CNN's Anna Courier retraces Edward Snowden's steps.
Where, under these dark and stormy skies in Hong Kong, is believed to be the source of one of the biggest leaks in American intelligence history. Edward Snowden has been hiding in this densely populated city of 7 million people, basing himself in this luxury boutique hotel. The 29-year-old checked out on Monday and has gone to ground, but staff were willing to give us a tour of where the infamous American had taken refuge. This is the last place that Edward Snowden stayed, the luxurious Mirror Hotel here in Hong Kong. Well, this is a standard room. It goes for about $400 a night. We understand that he stayed here for roughly 3 weeks. Well, that's a hotel bill of almost $8,000 US. It's believed he had every single meal inside here. He rarely went outside except for 3 occasions. He really spent all his time here, and this was where he leaked that highly sensitive information. Since revealing his identity during an interview with the Guardian newspaper, there has been no word from the former CIA computer technician. Snowden said he'd consider seeking asylum in Iceland because of the government's views on internet freedom. But one of the journalists who interviewed him told me he firmly believes Snowden is still in Hong Kong. A big mistake, according to one Hong Kong politician.
If he thought there is a legal vacuum in Hong Kong which renders him safe from U.S. jurisdiction, that is unlikely to be the case.
Hong Kong, a semi-autonomous Chinese territory, has an extradition treaty with the United States, though it does have exceptions which include political crimes. For now, he's believed to be nearly a quarter of the way through his 90-day tourist visa, but some people believe he should be given asylum.
I think, wow, he chose Hong Kong, yeah. So I feel a little bit proud of that.
I think he's in a bad position. I think he's in a precarious position he's put himself in, for sure.
This is obviously a huge story here in Hong Kong. Everyone is intrigued as to why Edward Snowden chose this city to flee to. Well, the South China Morning Post says the world's most wanted man breaks his cover in Hong Kong, while the local dailies, this one says he's a CIA traitor, while this newspaper says CIA agent flees to Hong Kong and begs for his life. While the media may be having a field day, the Hong Kong and Chinese governments are refusing to comment. No word either from the US consulate as the world waits to see where Snowden turns up next. Anna Corin, CNN, Hong Kong.
Riot police are using tear gas on protesters at the Taksim Square in Turkey after days of demonstrations. The unrest, according to the US and Germany, has to be treated delicately so it does not get out of hand. But as our Demon reports, the situation is brewing dangerously.
where they're actively standing up with the protesters. There's that group of demonstrators right there behind that small little makeshift barricade. They're hurling rocks. We also saw bottles being hurled. Over here, a much larger barricade, that is up in flames. It's unclear if that was deliberately set on fire or not. But the more violent these demonstrations become, the more hardened and polarized both sides are in their stances against one another.
The government had originally stated that it would not be sending its forces into Gezi Park, although they did just try to push in, getting a short distance in before being pushed back by the demonstrators. And now we're seeing everybody here getting ready for yet another assault by the government's forces. The riot police that are stationed out there, there's some blankets that have been scattered around, soaked in water just in case tear gas comes in, and some other stations for people to get quick first aid, just in case there is another effort by the riot police to actually move into the park itself.
Some of the demonstrators were trying to calm all of the sides down, but then as we were talking to one of the individuals involved with negotiations with the government, Ayub Muhju, the tear gas was still being fired in the background, and as he stated, to even talk about negotiations at this stage would just be a farce. Arwa Damon, CNN, Istanbul.
China has sent its fifth manned mission into orbit as the country plans to establish a long-term human presence in space. CNN's Rick Robertson traveled to that launch station in Gobi Desert, and he now explains.
Smiling, looking every inch the Chinese heroes they've become. The country's latest astronauts, one woman and two men, got an introduction to their nation. In the middle, the 48-year-old commander. This his second space mission. The other two, novices. After liftoff late Tuesday, they will spend 15 days orbiting the Earth, docking with their orbiting space lab. This mission is hugely important for the country's pride. China's first manned space mission was just 10 years ago. The country has taken huge leaps forward since then. But unlike the United States and Europe with the International Space Station, China doesn't have a permanently manned space mission. And now some of their docking techniques are beginning to appear outdated. At a nationally televised press conference announcing the launch, the Space Centre's deputy director conceded Russia's Soyuz craft docks with the International Space Lab 6 hours after launch. She said it would take China 2 days to dock and expressed concerns about increased risks as the space capsule nears the end of its life. But the mood was still upbeat. The longest mission yet, the most experiments, and the female astronaut will give classes from space to China's school children, help generate the next generation of space travelers. No one here is calling it a space race. Indeed, the laid-back nature of this space station town gives the impression that China is playing the tortoise to the United States hare. But there is a passion here, and it is palpable. Nick Robertson, CNN, Zhouchen Space Center, China.
It's time now for our second break. Weather is next. We now join the Central Forecast Office for a look at the weather.